everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Dakota Ray. So excited to have Melanie on our food stage today. Oh my God, my earring just fell out.
I love it. It's just so exciting.
So exciting. I'm losing my jewelry. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us today on our foodie stage. And I know your handle is at Feed Me Melanie, so that's where people will follow you. But firstly, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Dakota, for having me.
Of course, we are up. We're ready to go. But talk to me, like what inspired you to even get started? Like, how did you get here?
How did I get here? Well, it started off because I can barely remember what I ate yesterday. So I have to take pictures of my food and be like, yes, this is what I had. And this, I know this one was really good because the pictures spark something, that's memory inside of me. So it's nicer to scroll through that versus scrolling through my camera roll where there's like different things in there. And it's just nice. It's just nice.
That. So I guess talk to us. Like, were you always somebody who was, I'm absolutely going to be a foodie creator. I'm absolutely going to, jump into this. This is what I want to do. Or did you just kind of land into that? How did
I
that?
just landed into it because me, I'm a shy person actually. I'm not really good in front of the camera. I have like these awkward moments and stuff, and it's just like became my personality. I don't know.
Shy at all. So I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
So what was the turning point for you when you were like, you know what? I'm really going to do this. Like, I'm not just going to do it just obviously for fun. You enjoy it, but I'm really going to kind of pay some more attention here and give some more effort. When was that turning point?
I think it's when people started to message me and say, "Hey, I really love your recommendations. Do you have a recommendation for this or maybe something for this?" And it kind of gives me like, "Oh, people are actually
Tuning.
following me, like they're listening and they trust my reviews and stuff."
I love that. So you were like, okay, people are paying attention. I want to start giving, more insight. People are actually like what I'm doing. So I'm going to
Yes.
pay more attention to it. Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful. How would you describe, I guess, your content style in 3 words? Like, what would you say your content style is?
3 words. I would say authentic, playful,
Okay.
and relatable.
Okay. Let's talk about authentic. I want to
Yes.
dig into that for a second because that's such a controversial word in our industry. What do you deem authentic versus not authentic? And can you, for yourself, and then have you watched content, I guess, that you're like, that's not authentic? Like, what's your definition of that?
Well, authentic. I know my content is authentic because I know that is me and that's who I want to show to people. Because if people meet me in real life and they're like, well, that's not the person that I see on the videos, like, what's going on, right? So I want that to match. And then so sometimes, don't tell anyone, but sometimes when I do watch people's videos, I'm like, oh, this is cool. But when I meet them in person, it's like, wait, what? What happened?
Right. Calling people out. They're not. No, no. So what's your process, I guess, when planning content? Are you more spontaneous? Do you map things out? And is it by food category or by restaurant or like how do you go about that?
I'm more spontaneous, I would say.
Okay.
Like usually when I go to somewhere, I just want to feel out the vibe, see what the atmosphere is like, see what just what the experience is like before I decide on doing anything. And then when I do get the content, I'm like, I'm taking everything. My camera roll is full, and then I decide on it after.
And then go there. Have you ever
Yeah,
gone to a place where you're like, I will not, you don't have to name names, but I will not be creating a reel or posting about this place because I'm not.
100%. 100%. I still have those photos and videos in my photos, but like, because I'm a hoarder,
Yeah.
but I look back, I'm like, oh no. And all the memories start coming back.
So what would you define a place that you're not going to do a piece of content for? Like you just don't like the food, you don't like the atmosphere, you don't like the service. Like what is it where you're like, nah, I'm not posting this?
I think one of the big things would be service because I
Yeah.
feel like if I'm unwelcomed, I don't see why I should be supporting someone that makes me feel that way. Because
Interesting.
then how do I know if they make someone else feel that way?
So even if the food is delicious and die for, but the
Yeah,
service was shit, you're like, I'm
yeah,
not doing this.
yeah, yeah. I can't. It makes me feel bad.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. But we're missing out maybe on some good eats, but you said the service wasn't good. So you're like, I'm not talking about this.
Yeah, I think that makes the whole experience actually.
True. True. I agree. Okay. Good to know. So you're based between, I guess, Vancouver, Edmonton. How has the local food scene, I guess, there influenced like your creative direction or your content or any of that?
Well, I'm adventurous and I'm nosy about my food, so
Mhm.
I like to go out and see the different local restaurants that there are, like between Vancouver and Edmonton.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how the trends differ from place to place, and what is popular in one place might not be popular in the other place.
True. That's interesting. So what are some of those differences that you've noticed maybe?
Well, Vancouver definitely has a higher Asian population, so a lot of there's like a lot of Asian influence in the foods. So a lot of bubble tea, a lot of ramen, a lot of Korean food. That's what the trends go towards.
Okay.
And then in Edmonton, I feel like there's a little bit of that because there's not as much Asian population, there's not quite
As much.
that market. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And how do you decide which restaurant dishes, I guess, make the cut? I know we spoke about naturally service, so we know that now.
Hmm.
But how else do you decide? What about if the service is great? What about the food needs to happen for you to be like, yeah, I'm going to talk about this?
Okay, well, it has to look good.
Okay, aesthetics,
It
aesthetic.
has to look good because I don't know if the food comes out and it's all brown,
Mm,
even though it tastes great, but it's like visually not that appealing.
okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I hear that.
visually.
Visually look good. Anything else?
And what else? It basically just has to spark some enthusiasm
Sure.
in me. I think that's a big thing.
Okay. I
Big
love
thing because I feel that when you make something that sparks enthusiasm in you, people can feel it through
totally.
your content.
Totally, totally. So let's talk about, I guess one of the, I mean, there's many challenges. Obviously, lots of creators face challenges. You're in an, semi niche. I guess what would you say have some of the challenges that you've had experienced thus far growing your following? What does that look like?
I think one of the biggest challenges is probably trying to stand out because it's such a saturated space.
Yeah,
There's tons of amazing food creators out there, and sometimes the algorithm just doesn't like you. And some of the stuff that you feel like should get the reach doesn't get the reach that you think it deserves, and it's just like, ugh.
got it, got it. So let's talk about that. So has there been a time where you've posted something and you're like, that should have done way better and it just didn't? And you kind of dissect why in your mind? Like, obviously, I know we all like, oh, the algorithm.
Yeah, yeah,
But I guess
yeah.
things where you're like, hey, I've learned this along the way. This is what's helping me. Any, I guess, insights or tips?
Well, first, I just let myself fume and get all those emotions out of the way so I can have a clear head and think about like what went wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you ever felt, I guess, any like pressure to post things that are super trendy, even if it wasn't necessarily on your brand, quote unquote?
Yes. I've definitely felt that pressure. And especially when I first started out,
Okay.
everybody would be posting like this trendiest thing. I'm like, oh, should I go do that too? Because I don't want to be missing out. What if I
Yeah.
don't post it and then I miss out on all this engagement or whatever?
Yeah. So I guess let's talk. So you have done that in past, and I think lots of creators have, right? And the trendy things, will you? Is it more taking like the audio or the creative of the trend, and you use it if it's not on brand, or what will you do versus what you won't do when leveraging a trend?
What would I do versus what I wouldn't do?
Yeah, just curious.
If it definitely does not fit with what, okay, let's say if there's no camera on me, would I do it or would I do it on my own?
Interesting.
And if it makes me feel like strange, I don't know.
That's a question a lot of people need to ask. I think it is. No, no, interesting. And so let's talk about it. Do you film your own content, edit your own content? Do you do the whole creative process? And I guess what parts do you like and dislike?
I like all of it actually.
Okay.
I like filming because I have a certain vision in my mind, and there's very few select people that I trust to do that vision for me if I need them to film.
Yep.
Otherwise, I get a little heated, but that's a me issue. But yeah, I love doing the editing part. I like to put pieces together to try and tell what my story or tell the story
Tell the story.
that I want to, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I love that. And then so let's talk a little bit about, your when you started, I guess to now. What are some of the challenges or some of the new things you've learned or things on Instagram specifically? Let's talk about that. Like since you started till now, what are some things that you've noticed or picked up along the way?
But it takes a lot of time to make the caption and then to like find the right audio for it, to create the right emotion for whatever the video you're doing. It takes a lot more time than you think it would.
Right, right. So when you put out a reel, that's like your 15-second, 20-second, or a minute reel, or how much time are you actually putting into that?
Oh gosh, it could be hours. But I'm also really picky. Sometimes I have days where I just can't decide on something. I have decision anxiety, so then I just go through so many songs. I'm like, that's not it. It's just not hitting today. So
Not today.
I just have to go back to
And I guess what would you say is like a misconception people have about you, would you say?
a misconception about me
Yeah, curious.
as a foodie.
Yeah. Anything?
Ah, that I just get all this free food and like don't do anything, just take a couple pictures, post it up
Easy.
online and you get your meal for free. But it's like, no, it's
There's
work still.
so much to do. Yeah, of course. It would be easy
Yeah.
to go and pay.
Sometimes I actually do think that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so much, involved in your process, as you said, from the taking of the like content to the editing of the content and the thinking of the caption and all these things. So for sure. What would you say, I guess, is your favorite food and why? And what's your least favorite food and why?
My favorite food would have to be anything Japanese.
Okay.
I love raw fish. I love the udon noodles that they make with it. Their meats are really good. I don't know, it's just I could eat that every day.
Any recommendations? Where should we be going?
In Edmonton, I would go to Izakaya Tomo,
Okay. Okay.
and that one, God, their fish quality is like top
Top
notch.
notch.
Oh, it's just
We're
both of
just
them just gotta go.
having the best time today, apparently. Oh my, I gotta meet with you more. Honestly, what's going on? So yeah, okay, and then in Edmonton, where? Or you said Edmonton in Vancouver.
Yeah, Edmonton, Vancouver. There is so many in Vancouver because again, they have the higher Asian population, and there's just top of my head. Holy, I like Raisu and that restaurant group there. What else do I like? I like Uma Sushi, Tozen Sushi, Tom Sushi.
Sushi. Sushi too, don't worry. I actually got into sushi recently. Like
Yeah,
maybe last year or two. I wasn't really into sushi before that.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but now
And
I
now you're hooked.
like it. I like it. Let's talk about what would you say is your least favorite food, like in terms of, category that you're not as much as a fan of?
I would have to say anything that has a lot of cilantro in it.
Ooh, I don't like cilantro either.
Ugh. So I hate to say it, but like Mexican because it's like in pretty much everything. Usually I ask for it on the side, but sometimes they're like, oh, it already comes with it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like, oh, yeah, totally agree. I'm not a cilantro fan. So
Mm-hmm.
good to know. Okay, we want to play a little fun game with you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do what's an ideal match or ideal pair from, foodie edition. So I'm going to list
Okay.
something and then I want you to say what's the perfect match with that.
Okay.
So avocado. Okay. Pineapple.
Hawaiian pizza.
Okay.
Ice. Dried mangoes.
Dried mangoes and spice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burnt toast.
Burnt toast and the compost.
I love that. Sourdough.
Sourdough and soup.
Okay. Aesthetic.
A matcha latte.
Ooh. Fish.
Sushi.
Hang.
Angry. Instant noodles.
Okay. Garlic.
Garlic. Butter.
Oh, yes. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, cool. So listen, thank you so much, Melanie. Tell everybody where they can follow you. And I guess if they do follow you, what can they expect?
You can follow me on Instagram at Feed Me Melanie, and you can expect tons of delicious food with great service.
Woo, great service. Don't forget. Well, thank you so much for joining us on CreatorQon, Melanie. This was fantastic to get to learn
Thank you, Dakota.
about you, and we will talk soon. Take care.
Yay!
Okay, that was so good. Thank
Yay!
you. It's so fun. Can you do a really quick, just to camera, like shout out CreatorCon? Thanks for having me. Because we're gonna cut that clip and use it as well. But you were so good. Thank you.
I'm sweating now.
You did so good.
Shout out to CreatorCon. Thanks for having me.
Okay, that was so good. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna check out some of these spots when I go to Vancouver too. So I'm
Oh
looking forward
yeah.
to that. Okay, well, Daria will be in contact with you about when we're going to post and the clips and all the fun stuff. So this was great. And I guess we'll talk soon. Thank you, Melanie.
Amazing. Thank you.
Okay,
Talk to you
bye.
later.
Oh, can you leave the app open for like 2 minutes? After I end this, just leave the app open for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
It'll render.
Sure.
Thank
Okay.
you. Okay. Bye.
Bye.